Hello everyone. Today is the 23rd time of my life story, Father, Son, and Violin. Chapter 10, the second stage of my violin learning. I decided to be a professional violinist by stimulation. If, say, my original intention of learning the violin was partly hoping to impress my father and gain his respect. After the incident, burning my hormone and harming everybody around me, to learn the violin became only for my love of the violin, though a portion of the fondness to show off still remains. Now, when I think back, the words love for the violin are not strong enough. More precisely, by that time, violin was the only thing and everything to me. My life interest and purpose, life content, spiritual consignment, and more importantly, a road or bridge that led me to the prospect of a better life. Burned my hand-copied music scores. I can hand-copy again. Not allowed to practice violin at home, I could go out to hide myself at my secret place close to the riverbank, indulging in self-inebriation. But one major problem was I had no money to buy the violin strings, particularly the A string, which broke very often. I remember an A string cost 20 fen renminbi, Chinese 20 cents, okay, the same amount as 2 lunches. I received only 10 fen lunch money from Mom daily. Note: here I by no means blame my mother. In fact, that was not easy to give me 10 fen per day from her salary. In that period, if I broke a string, I would go out to the classroom and play basketball during the lunch hour. Sacrificing lunch to buy strings was soon discovered by my classmates, girls. One day, Old Yangming called me back to the classroom from the sports ground, saying that there was something in my drawer waiting for me. I opened my drawer. A bowl of steamed hot wonton, Chinese wonton, appeared in front of my eyes. I felt awkward and embarrassed, but looked at Old Yangming with thankfulness. She laughed and explained, "You think I would be so kind? If it were not for classmate Peng Manzhen putting in the money, I would never run an errand for you." I searched for the classmate's Peng, hiding among the other girls. Only saw half of her face, a blushed face. In fact, I seldom talked with her. What she did for me that day touched me so much that until today I would never want to forget. A small thing, but I remember. If you do some good thing to people, people remember all their lives. I pretended to be troubled, remarking loudly, "How can I finish such a big bowl of wonton? I ate too much in the morning, and it's still not digested. That's why I had to go out to play basketball." I took the ball and ran quickly, but not so quickly as to spill the wonton. I found the place was no people, took a look around, making sure no one was watching, then poured the wonton into my mouth and swallowed it down into my stomach, like a hungry prisoner, cleaning the empty bowl a couple of times by means of my tongue afterwards. The trouble was, after that, I could not spare money to buy violin strings anymore, as I had to not only eat my lunch, but eat in front of the whole class, soundly, in order to prevent another wonton occurrence from happening. This matter was soon spread to the ear of Ma Xiaomao. Hence, she gave me violin strings from time to time. What she gave me was not cheap strings for students, but very expensive red star strings for professionals. Red star silver strings were the best China-made strings at that time. The odd thing was, the look-new strings were all broken and needed to be knotted before use. Ma could not stand my incessant inquiring, and finally told me the secret. she had a little friend named Du Guo went into Changsha City Opera, and at her request, Du Guo kept all broken strings for Ma. Besides God, only Du Guo knew if those strings were broken naturally or with some help. From then, I went to see Du Guo very often. Although he was much younger than I, he was half a head taller. The excuse for visiting him began with begging for strings and gradually changed to indirectly learning his violin performing technique. Although I pursued my violin studies with teacher Li, after getting to know Du Guo, I somehow started to feel that teacher Li's method was good for beginners, but maybe not the best for people who wish to be a professional. Du Guo was already a member of the professionals. He was taught and closely watched by his professional violin teacher. Therefore, he progressed very quickly. My trick of learning from him indirectly was, every time I went to see him, I would ask for a piece of blank score paper. I would then hand copy the violin exercises he was working on. During my hand copying, I always paid special attention to his teacher's pencil marks, the bowing, fingering, music expression, or technical hint, etc. After the copy was done, I would always request that Du Guo play it a couple of times for me, claim that I was checking my hand-copied notes for mistakes. The rest was easy. I went back home and would practice twice or many times more harder than Du Guo, as I believed. Evidently, my violin playing progress was very obviously during this period. Though I appeared to be very friendly to Du Guo, I was truly envious of him. I envied his work and the study environment, but most of all his gold bell brand violin that was worth 400 RMB when the average monthly income was 40 RMB for Chinese people. Every time I saw the tiger frame the maple back of his violin, I could not stop the slobber from dropping out of my mouth. One day, I was in Duke's room and hand copying Mozart's No. 3 Violin Concerto. When I had just got started, the leader of the orchestra called Du Guo out. "I will knock the door from outside. Make no noise. Nobody knows you are here. Take your time." I copied, rested, and copied. When I finished the first movement of the concerto, it was time for me to go home. But I couldn't, as Du Guo was still not back. I was tired and started to doze off. Though I wasn't even 15 yet, I was aware that it was rude to fall asleep in another person's bed. In order to stay awake, I paced back and forth inside his little room. It was then envy came into my eyes. The twilight through the curtain gap thrown on the fourth-grade gold bell, making it look like a pile of gold, or maybe more than a beautiful girl with a tenderness and affection winking at me. I could no longer resist my desire. Step by step, I got closer to her attention. I touched her neck, caused the gold bell to ring. That made me insane. I took the bow out from the case. Then the bow touched the violin. The sound brought me to Wonderland. From Du Guo's room, a crippled Mozart Violin Concerto No. 3 sounded. At exactly the high climax of my self-satisfaction, a knock on the door, bam bam, woke me up. Then I heard a man's voice. "Du Guo, your rhythm today is terrible. You need more attention." I immediately stopped playing and kept quiet, as Du Guo had asked me to. But the voice did not give up. "How did you lock yourself in? Is there someone pulling your legs?" I still kept quiet, as I promised Du Guo. Another woman's voice from a distance answered for me. "Du Guo is not in. He's out with all other students. He won't be back until 5. The man's voice replied to the woman's voice. "If Du Guo is not in, who is playing? A ghost? I heard the violin." "That's impossible," a woman's voice again. Don't tell me your conductor has a hearing problem, man's voice. Who could that be? Who? If you give no answer, we will call the security section. The woman's voice, both voices. I had no choice but to tell them I was a friend of Dougal and one that comes very often. All right, please open the window, the woman indicated. The window opened. A young lady and a man in his 30s appeared to me. This is Teacher Xiao, the conductor of our opera, and my name is Huang. I'm Dougal's violin teacher. Teacher Huang's friendly face relaxed me very much. I politely agreed. 你好, you good, means 你好, hello. Teacher Huang and Teacher Xiao. Huang nodded her head and asked me with an affable smile. Conductor Xiao said you were playing the violin. Could you play it again? For us? Hearing that request, plus Xiao's extraordinary serious face, my relaxed nerves tented again. I faltered. Could I play something else instead of Mozart I just played? So I played The Beautiful Rosemary by Kreisler, that I felt adept at as I had learned it from Teacher Li. However, Xiao walked away before I finished my performance. Thank God Huang did not leave. Instead, she started to show me the more correct way of holding the violin. Meanwhile, Dougal returned back. Huang left her last words to me. You are a young man full of potential, but do watch your rhythm when you play. Dougal heard what happened when he was away. He said, I was just about to talk to my teacher Huang about you. Rumor has it our opera will recruit new violin students sometime soon. Immediately, my mood helicoptered, and repeatedly I begged him to go to ask Teacher Huang and Xiao, ask what they thought about me and my violin playing, to see if I had any chance. After about 10 minutes, Dougal came back again. How was it? What did they say about me? I was too impatient to wait. Dougal smiled, but made no comment. Don't hold me in suspense. Please, I really can't wait any longer, I begged him. It's not that I hold you in suspense. It is that I'm afraid you would be hurt to hear it. Nothing can hurt me. Say it now. I pressed on him physically. All right. It is you who forced me. You'll face the consequence. Dougal paused and said, Our conductor Xiao said you've got some bad amateur habits. For example, bad rhythm. Therefore, to train you to be a professional violinist would not be easy. What? Dougal's words not only hurt me, but also shocked me, like throwing an atomic bomb into my mouth. He said that? I've got some amateur habits and not good at rhythm? I roared. Dougal's face became longer. I told you that you would be hurt, but you didn't want to believe me. Hurt? Ha ha ha! No, I'm not hurt. Go to tell that man, say to be free in reason is my style, and I am an amateur and happy to stay in amateur. I made myself an exit to escape from the awkwardness and got out of Dougal's room. I was in such an upset state that I forgot the Mozart Concerto No. 3 I had spent the whole afternoon handicapping. What I was there for. Isn't it true that in everyday life, it is all right for us to grow too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny, or too big a nose, eyes, as far as nobody points out. But if someone does point out, even though a fact, our feelings would be hurt. Back home, Mother's scolding for being late getting home was a fruitless labor, as my mind was stuffed with Conductor Xiao's words. I was tossing and turning all night until I finally got up and wrote a very emotional letter. I really did that. Unbelievable. Next afternoon, as soon as my school was over, I went to Changsha Opera again. This time I did not go into Dougal's room, but knocked at his window. Dougal opened his window. "You got your music notes." He passed them to me. I took the notes with one hand and handed the letter to him with the other. "Do me a favor, hand it to that man, the man who beats time in your orchestra." Dougal looked curious and worried. "May I take a look?" "Sure, go ahead," I encouraged him. Dougal opened the letter and read, "I swear to you that someday I will become #1 violinist in all of Changsha City. By then, you will say I am a professional. When I play the solo in my style, you will have to lead your orchestra, crowing and rolling to follow my rhythm." Dougal stopped reading as he could not help laughing. 九哥, my nickname, means brother 9. Okay. "You are amazing. Even though one day you might become the #1, how can you say that, especially now? Aren't you afraid to be thought of as conceited and arrogant?" "That's what I am, conceited and arrogant. Extremely. I not only want to be the #1 in Changsha, but also #1 in the whole Hunan province." Bragged aggressively and confidently. Oh my God. What a kid. Dougal's window was shut. After that, I stopped going to Changsha Opera begging for broken strings and hand-copying music notes. Nevertheless, Conductor Xiao's words continued to stimulate me, functioning as everlasting power and energy, pushing me forward to my road to be a professional violinist. When you're young, energetic, full of ambition, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying, you know. Okay, this is what I did. I'm sorry, Dr. Xiao. I'm sorry, I mean, Conductor Xiao. Okay, to be continued. The next time will be chapter 11, the first high climax of the story. We had a small climax before, but this is higher, okay? We had a climax before. We had a small climax. We had a small climax. We had a small climax. Okay, forget it. Bye-bye.